Imagine this. You are 80 years old, retired, and spending time with your grandchildren. Life is good. You feel fine, maybe a little slower than before, but nothing too serious. Then one day, out of nowhere, everything changes. A health crisis hits. Maybe it is a heart attack, maybe a stroke. What if I told you that nearly every death after 75 comes down to just 5 causes? And here is the surprising truth. Most of them are preventable. People assume that aging means illness, but that is not always true. The choices you make today will determine whether you stay active, independent, and healthy, or if you end up confined to a hospital bed. This video is not about fear. It is about power. The power to take control of your health and your future. Stay with me, because what you are about to learn could save your life. Aging is not the problem. The real problem is ignoring the warning signs. Many people believe that growing older automatically means losing their health, but that is not true. Think about it. We all know someone who seemed fine one day, and then suddenly, everything changed. Maybe it was a neighbor who always took his morning walks until one day he did not. Maybe it was a family member who was full of life, but then a stroke left them unable to speak. It happens fast, and it often happens without warning. But here's the thing. Most serious health problems after 75 do not just appear out of nowhere. They start small. Subtle changes, a little fatigue, a bit of dizziness, occasional forgetfulness, and we dismiss them. People say, it is just part of getting older. But what if it is not? What if it is your body trying to warn you? Here is what you need to know. Nearly every death after 75 comes from just 5 causes. 5. And the good news? Most of them can be prevented or at least delayed. The choices you make today can determine whether you stay strong, active, and independent, or whether you spend your later years in and out of hospitals, relying on others for basic tasks. This video is not about fear. It is about taking control. It is about giving yourself the best possible chance at a long, healthy life. So stay with me. What you are about to learn could change everything. Cause 1. Cardiovascular disease, the silent killer. Let's talk about the number 1 cause of death after 75, heart disease. It is silent. It is deadly. And the worst part? Most people do not even realize they have it until it is too late. Meet Lily. She is 78 years old. She has always been active and always taken care of herself. But lately, something feels different. She gets tired more easily. Walking up the stairs leaves her a little short of breath. She wakes up in the morning feeling exhausted, even after a full night's sleep. She tells herself it is just part of getting older. It is normal, right? One evening, while watching television, she feels a slight pressure in her chest. Nothing too painful, just a little tightness. She takes a deep breath and it goes away. She does not think much of it. 1 week later, she collapses. Heart attack. At the hospital, the doctor looks at her test results and shakes his head. Lily, he says, if you had come in 30 minutes later, you would not be here right now. This is how heart disease works. It does not always come with obvious warning signs. Sometimes it is just a little fatigue, a little shortness of breath, a little swelling in the legs. And then, one day, the heart just stops. But here's the thing. Heart disease is not an inevitable part of aging. It is not something that just happens. It is something that builds up over time, slowly, silently, through years of small, unnoticed damage. So what causes it? For many people, it starts with high blood pressure. Over time, the constant pressure against the artery walls causes them to stiffen and narrow. Then there is cholesterol, the fatty substance that can build up inside the arteries, creating blockages. Add in a sedentary lifestyle, a poor diet, and stress, and you have the perfect storm. But here's the good news. Heart disease is largely preventable. You're not powerless against it. Step 1. Know your numbers. If you have not had your blood pressure or cholesterol checked in the last 6 months, make an appointment today. Not next week. Not next month. Today. Step 2. Change your diet. The food you eat can either protect your heart or destroy it. Processed foods, excess salt, too much sugar, bad news. Leafy greens, salmon nuts, that is the good stuff. If you're not sure where to start, try adding one heart-healthy food to your diet each week. Small changes add up. Step 3, move. Your heart is a muscle. If you do not use it, it weakens. But here's the great thing. You do not have to run marathons. You do not have to spend hours in the gym. Just 30 minutes of walking a day can significantly lower your risk of heart disease. And finally, stress. You might not think of stress as a heart disease factor, but it is. Chronic stress keeps your body in a constant state of high alert, increasing your blood pressure and putting extra strain on your heart. Find ways to manage it. Deep breathing, meditation, listening to music, spending time with loved ones, whatever helps you relax, do more of that. Lily was lucky. She survived her heart attack, but many people do not. The question is, will you wait for a crisis or will you take action now? Because the choices you make today will determine whether your heart stays strong or whether it stops before it's time. Your heart keeps you alive. Take care of it now, so it can take care of you later. Think about this. Your heart beats over 100,000 times a day. That is more than 35 million times a year. Now, imagine if every single beat was pushing blood through stiff, narrowed arteries. Imagine your heart working harder and harder, struggling to keep up. That is what happens when you ignore high blood pressure. That is what happens when cholesterol builds up, little by little, year after year. And the symptoms? They do not always scream heart attack. Sometimes it is just feeling more tired than usual. Sometimes it is waking up in the middle of the night, struggling to catch your breath. Sometimes it is a strange discomfort in your back or shoulders. Too many people ignore these signs. Too many people wait until they are in an ambulance before they realize they should have paid attention sooner. But not you. You know better. You know that heart disease is not something to gamble with. So let me ask you, when was the last time you had a heart checkup? When was the last time you paid attention to what your body was trying to tell you? This is your wake-up call. Do not wait for a crisis. Do not wait for a hospital room. Start today. Your heart depends on it. Cause 2, stroke, the instant game changer. Let me ask you something. If you saw someone suddenly collapse, unable to move half of their body, struggling to speak, what would you do? Most people would say, call an ambulance immediately. And that is the right answer. Because when it comes to a stroke, every single second counts. But here's the thing. What if I told you that many strokes do not start with a collapse? What if I told you that for a lot of people, the first warning sign is something as small as a weak grip, a moment of dizziness, or a little slurred speech that disappears in a few minutes? That is what happened to James. He was 80 years old, enjoying dinner with his wife. He reached for his glass of water, and, for some reason, his fingers did not grip it right. The glass slipped, crashed onto the table. He laughed it off. Must be getting clumsy in my old age, he joked. His wife looked at him. James, are you feeling okay? Yeah, I am fine, he said. Just a little off today. 30 minutes later, James could not lift his left arm. His speech started to slur. His wife called for help, but by the time he got to the hospital, the damage was done. He survived, but he never walked again. Now, imagine if James had recognized the signs earlier. Imagine if he had known what to look for and acted immediately. Things could have been very different. That is why you need to know the FAST method. It is the simplest way to recognize a stroke. F stands for face drooping. If one side of the face suddenly looks uneven or droopy, it is a warning sign. A stands for arm weakness. If one arm cannot be lifted properly, or if it suddenly feels numb, pay attention. S stands for speech difficulty. If someone suddenly starts slurring words, struggling to form a sentence, or does not understand what you are saying, that is a red flag. T stands for time to call for help. Do not wait. Do not assume it will pass. Call emergency services immediately. Because here is the harsh truth. Once brain cells die, they do not come back. The longer you wait, the more damage is done. So what causes a stroke? There are 2 main types. The first is called an ischemic stroke. It happens when a blood clot blocks the flow of oxygen to the brain. This is the most common type. The second is called a hemorrhagic stroke. This happens when a blood vessel in the brain bursts, causing bleeding inside the brain. This is often caused by high blood pressure that has gone unchecked for years. And here's where things get real. The majority of strokes are preventable. Yes, you heard that right. Most strokes do not just happen. They build up over time, just like heart disease. High blood pressure, smoking, diabetes, obesity, and a sedentary lifestyle are all major risk factors. So what can you do? Step 1. Control your blood pressure. If you do not know your numbers, find out. High blood pressure is often called the silent killer because it does not always come with symptoms. Get it checked regularly and keep it under control. Step 2. Stay active. You do not have to become a marathon runner, but a 30-minute walk every day, that can cut your stroke risk in half. Step 3. Watch your diet. Processed foods, excess salt, and too much alcohol increase your risk. On the other hand, foods rich in omega-3s, fiber, and antioxidants help keep your blood vessels healthy. Step 4. Quit smoking. If you smoke, stop. If you do not smoke, never start. Smoking thickens your blood and narrows your arteries, increasing your risk of stroke exponentially. Step 5. Manage your stress. Chronic stress keeps your body in a constant state of high alert, raising your blood pressure and increasing your risk of stroke. Find ways to relax, whether it's meditation, deep breathing, or spending time in nature. Now, let me ask you again. If you or someone you love suddenly felt weakness in one arm, slurred speech, or dizziness, would you act immediately? Would you recognize the signs and make that life-saving call? James and his wife did not know the signs. They waited, and waiting cost James his independence. But you? You know now. You know what to do. So do not wait for a stroke to happen. Take control of your health today. Cause 3. Falls, the most overlooked danger. Imagine this. You are in your home, doing something you have done 1,000 times before, maybe reaching for a glass in the kitchen, maybe stepping out of the shower. And then, in an instant, you lose your balance. Your foot slips, your body tilts, and before you know it, you are on the floor in pain, unable to get up. This is how it happens. No warning, no time to react. For many older adults, a fall is not just a small accident. It is life-changing. It can mean broken bones, months of rehabilitation, and, in some cases, the loss of independence forever. Take Helen, for example. She was 82 years old and still living on her own. She was independent, strong, and active. Then, one morning, she slipped into her bathroom. She fractured her hip. After surgery, she spent weeks in the hospital and then months in a rehabilitation center. But she never fully recovered. Before her fall, she went grocery shopping, cooked her own meals, and met her friends for coffee. After her fall, she could no longer walk without assistance. Simple tasks became impossible. Eventually, she had to move into assisted living. This is the reality for millions of older adults. One fall can change everything. But here's the good news. Most falls can be prevented. So why do they happen? The biggest reason is that as we age, our balance and strength naturally decline. Our muscles weaken, our reflexes slow down, and our bones become more fragile. But it is not just about the body. Many falls happen because of small hazards around the house. Loose rugs, poor lighting, slippery floors, or even clutter in walkways. And then there is medication. Some prescriptions cause dizziness, drowsiness, or low blood pressure, increasing the risk of falls. So what can you do to protect yourself? Step 1. Strengthen your body. You do not have to lift weights or do intense workouts. But small, consistent movement makes a big difference. Simple balance exercises like standing on one foot for a few seconds or practicing Tai Chi can help improve stability. Walking, stretching, and gentle strength exercises keep your muscles strong. Step 2. Make your home safer. Go through each room in your house and look for fall risks. Get rid of loose rugs or secure them with non-slip backing. Make sure every room is well lit, especially hallways and staircases. Install grab bars in the bathroom near the toilet and shower. Step 3. Wear proper footwear. Slippers might be comfortable, but they're not always safe. Wear shoes with non-slip soles, even inside the house. It may seem like a small thing, but it makes a huge difference. Step 4. Get your vision checked. Poor eyesight increases the risk of falls. If your glasses prescription is outdated, you may misjudge distances or not see obstacles. Get regular eye exams to make sure you can see properly. Step 5. Review your medications. Some medications cause dizziness or make you feel lightheaded. Talk to your doctor about any side effects and ask if there are alternatives that are safer for balance. Falls are not just accidents. They're preventable. Prevention starts today. So ask yourself, when was the last time you checked your home for hazards? When was the last time you focused on balance and strength? Do not wait for a fall to remind you. Take action now, because staying safe means staying independent. Cause 4. Respiratory infections, the hidden threat. A simple cough. That is how it starts. Nothing serious, right? Just a little irritation in the throat. Maybe a runny nose. You tell yourself, it is just a cold. It will pass. But then, a few days later, you feel more tired than usual. Your breathing becomes a little harder. A fever creeps in, and before you know it, you are in the hospital, struggling to catch your breath. This is how respiratory infections can sneak up on older adults. What starts as a harmless cough can quickly turn into pneumonia, a serious, life-threatening condition. Meet Sarah. She was 78, healthy, active, and never had any major health problems. One winter, she caught what she thought was just a minor cold. She had a little cough and felt a bit run down. She ignored it. She did not see a doctor. A week later, she could barely get out of bed. Her chest felt tight. Her breathing was shallow. She finally went to the hospital, but by then, her lungs were filled with fluid. She spent 2 weeks in the ICU. She survived, but her health was never the same again. Here is the truth. Respiratory infections are one of the leading causes of death in people over 75. The reason? As we age, our immune system weakens. Our lungs do not clear mucus and bacteria as effectively as they used to. That means a simple cold can turn into something far more dangerous. So what can you do to protect yourself? Step 1. Get vaccinated. A lot of people think, I have never had the flu, so I do not need the flu shot. That is a mistake. The flu, pneumonia, and other respiratory infections can be deadly for older adults. Getting an annual flu shot and the pneumonia vaccine can lower your risk significantly. Step 2. Wash your hands often. It sounds simple, but it works. Germs spread fast, especially in crowded places like grocery stores, churches, and family gatherings. Washing your hands with soap for at least 20 seconds can prevent infections from spreading. Step 3. Avoid close contact with sick people. If someone around you has a cough, fever, or runny nose, keep your distance. It is not rude. It is about staying healthy. Step 4. Keep your home air clean. Dry indoor air can irritate your lungs and make you more vulnerable to infections. Use a humidifier in the winter to keep your air moist. And if you have allergies or asthma, make sure your home is free of dust and mold. Step 5. Strengthen your immune system. Your body fights infections better when it is well-nourished and hydrated. Eat foods rich in vitamin C and D, like oranges, bell peppers, and leafy greens. Drink plenty of water, and get enough sleep, because a rested body is a stronger body. Now, let me ask you this. When was the last time you got your flu shot? When was the last time you thought about protecting your lungs? Because here is the reality. Breathing is something we take for granted until it becomes difficult. Do not wait until a simple cough turns into something worse. Take action now. Your future self will thank you. Think about this. Every breath you take keeps you alive. But when your lungs struggle, everything else in your body struggles too. Many people assume that pneumonia only happens to people who are already sick. But that is not true. Even healthy older adults can develop life-threatening complications from a simple infection. So do not wait. Take these steps now. Protect your lungs. Protect your health. Because every breath matters. Cause 5. Memory loss and Alzheimer's. Losing yourself. Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you went there? It happens to all of us. But what if one day you forget more than just where you put your keys? What if you forget your own address? What if you look at your family and do not recognize their faces? This is what Alzheimer's does. It does not just make memories. It takes people, It takes independence. It takes lives. Meet Margaret. She was 79, full of life, and sharp as ever. She loved crossword puzzles, could recall stories from her childhood in vivid detail, and never missed a birthday. Then one day, she forgot the name of her neighbor. No big deal, right? A few months later, she forgot how to make her favorite recipe, the one she had cooked for decades. Then she started misplacing things in strange places. Her phone is in the fridge. Her shoes are in the microwave. Her family grew concerned, but she laughed it off. "I'm just getting older," she said. But the forgetting got worse. One day, she went for a walk and could not find her way home. That is when her family knew something was really wrong. Alzheimer's does not happen overnight. It starts slow, little changes, and then, before you know it, life is unrecognizable. So what causes it? Scientists are still studying Alzheimer's, but we know that certain factors increase the risk. High blood pressure, lack of exercise, poor diet, social isolation, and even chronic stress can all play a role. But here's the good news. There are ways to reduce your risk. Step 1. Keep your brain active. Think of your brain like a muscle. If you do not use it, you lose it. Reading, doing puzzles, learning a new skill. These things help keep your brain strong. Even something as simple as switching up your daily routine can challenge your mind in a good way. Step 2. Stay socially connected. Loneliness is dangerous. Socially isolated people have a much higher risk of cognitive decline. Make it a priority to stay in touch with friends and family. Join a club. Have conversations. Social interaction is like exercise for your brain. Step 3. Eat brain-healthy foods. What you eat matters. Leafy greens, nuts, berries, fish, these foods help protect your brain. And avoid too much sugar. Studies show that high sugar intake can speed up memory loss. Step 4. Exercise regularly. Movement is not just good for your body. It is good for your brain. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain, helping to keep it sharp. Just 30 minutes of walking a day can make a difference. Step 5. Get enough sleep. Sleep is when your brain cleans itself. Poor sleep is linked to memory problems. If you're not getting enough rest, your brain cannot function at its best. Now, let me ask you this. When was the last time you did something new? When was the last time you challenged your brain? Margaret's family wished they had known the warning signs sooner. They wished they had helped her take steps to protect her memory before it was too late. But you know now. So do not wait. Keep your mind active. Take care of your brain. Because memories are priceless, and losing them is not an option. Think about this. Your brain is the command center of your life. It holds every experience, every lesson, every person you love. But Alzheimer's does not care how smart you are. It does not matter how many degrees you have or how much you have accomplished. It happens slowly, silently, until one day, the memories that make you who you are begin to slip away. Do not wait for that day. Start protecting your brain now, because a strong mind means a strong life. So now you know. 5 major causes. 5 threats that take the lives of so many people after 75. But here's the good news. Most of them are preventable. You do not have to wait for a heart attack to start taking care of your heart. You do not have to wait for a stroke to recognize the warning signs. You do not have to experience a fall to realize how important balance and strength are. The choices you make today matter. The small things, what you eat, how much you move, how you take care of your mind, all of it adds up over time. Take Helen, who made her home safer and started doing balance exercises. She avoided the fate of so many others who fall and never fully recover. Think about James, who did not recognize his stroke symptoms in time. If he had known what to look for, his life could have been very different. And then there is Margaret. She kept her brain active, stayed social, and made sure she was protecting her memory. And because of that, she kept her independence longer than most. So ask yourself this. What are you going to do today to protect your future? Because aging is not just about getting older. It is about how you live. And you have more control over that than you think. Now, here's the real question. What are you going to do with this knowledge? Because knowing these 5 deadly risks is not enough. Action is what makes the difference. Take one step today, schedule that doctor's appointment, go for a walk, call a loved one, and stay socially connected. And if this video helped you, share it. Someone you love might need this information more than you realize. Your future is in your hands. Make it a healthy one.